Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Providence, where we love beyond belief. My name is Roxanne Stern. I am the worship associate for today. And whoever you are, wherever you are on your journey, please know that you are welcome here to worship in community with us.
Good morning again. Welcome again to First U. I'm Reverend Liz Lerner-McClay, and I'm so glad to say this is our time of greeting, which always feels especially rich to me the first few Sundays of the year when we're seeing people each week that we haven't seen maybe for weeks and months. So this is our time of greeting. Let's get up, let's move around as we are able. Let's make sure no one goes ungreeted, unwelcomed this morning, whether we know and love them already or we think this is the first time we've seen each other. From the nearest spaces to the furthest corners, no one goes unwelcomed. And before we resume our seats, can we just make sure to turn around, wave to everybody at home or traveling at the cameras to the right of the organ, and say good morning on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everybody at home or away. We're glad to be with you. Our chalice lighting words are in the order of service. This light burns also in our hearts, and it lights the way towards harmony, justice, and hope for all. And I'd like to ask you to join me in a unison invocation. If you could turn to, it's like the 6th page maybe in our gray hymnal that starts, we, the member congregations, looks like this. We, the member congregations, on the left page. Covenant to affirm and promote. See all that? All right, we're going to read the first part together if we can. This is the purposes and principles of Unitarian Universalism that were established in the 1980s. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience, and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Our opening hymn is number 289 in the gray hymnal, Creative Love, Our Thanks We Give. Can we rise and body your spirit and sing out? can we join in the words of our covenant? No one is required to speak these words. Everyone is welcome to. We, the members of the First Unitarian Church of Providence, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the light we know by many names, and with gratitude for our deep connection to each other and to the larger web of existence, covenant to walk together in our search for truth, seeking the paths of wisdom, compassion, and justice.
Today's reading comes from Emma Lazarus, an American Jewish poet who was inspired to write these verses by the Statue of Liberty and who donated this poem to an auction of the arts in which they were raising money to build the pedestal for the statue. This poem now hangs on an inner wall of the pedestal. The new Colossus. Not the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here, at our sea-washed sunset gates, shall stand a mighty woman with the torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
These are the joys and sorrows we carry on our hearts in this beloved community on this day. A candle of joy for Kate, who is Skip Farina's daughter. Kate and James Rowland were married last Saturday. From Roxanne Stern, a candle of hope for America, and that I can continue to be American. From the lay ministry team, a candle of wellness for Lisa Rose, who you may know broke her leg recently and is on the meal train if you do want to sign up for that. From the Russley family, a candle of sorrow for the passing of our pet guinea pig, Daisy. May she frolic with Tank and then rest in peace. From Alan Phelps, today is 2 months since my mother died. I miss her and wish she was still here. I'm praying for acceptance. From Gloria Bent, my heart is heavy for my friends who have recently received a diagnosis of cancer. May they be surrounded by love, support, and good health care. A candle from Erica and Nick Truesdale Grail, a candle of sorrow. On June 20th, they met and said goodbye to their daughter, Gracia Louise. She weighed 54 ounces and was 7 3/4 inches long. Even though she only lived for 17 weeks in her mom's belly, she was loved and will be missed by many. Let us gather our hearts and minds for meditation and prayer and reflection. Remember, after the words, there will be some silence for your personal reflection. And if you've lost someone this year and you want to stand or raise your hand in silent tribute, that would be welcome. This is from Andrea Camper. Blessed are we whose morning stars still rise, who gather with open hearts together in this space today. Blessed are we, the chalice lighters of resistance, of justice, of love, of faith. Blessed are we, the heretics, the outcasts, the walkers of our own way. Blessed are we, the border crossers, the refugees, the immigrants, the wanderers not lost. Blessed are we, the friend, the stranger, the lonely, the hidden, the visible, the authentic, the free. Blessed are we, for this is our beloved community, and this is who we are. Spirit of life and love, help us to remember all of our blessings and to use these to strengthen this community with hearts of justice, mercy, and love. May it be so. Amen.
Back when I was a young adult, I moved to the country of Greece. I was fed up with the extreme materialism of yuppiness which prevailed at the time, and I was frustrated by trying to discover what I should do with my life, and brokenhearted at the explosion of homeless people on the streets after President Reagan had shut off funding for state mental hospitals. Houses of worship and social services were struggling and staggering under the load, trying to feed and house people who needed way more support than those communities were able to provide, and I was disgusted with my government. So I decided to try somewhere very different. And because I then learned Greek in Greece, when I went there I knew the alphabet, so I could read signs, and that was it. Because I learned Greek there, I speak it with a fairly authentic accent. And because of my Ukrainian, Jewish, and Italian ancestry, I can pass for Greek. Also Turkish, and Puerto Rican, and many others, none of which matters right now. Because of all this, every time I go back to Greece, Greek strangers, taxi or bus drivers, people in shops or restaurants, all have the same conversation with me over and over again, so much so that my husband, who speaks no Greek, that's not true, he knows how to say, "I love you," and he knows how to say, "I would like something to eat." That's totally it. Nonetheless, even he can always tell when this conversation unfolds. "So, you are Greek American?" "No, just American." "Then how is your Greek so good?" I was tempted to say this in Greek as well as English, but it was going to take too long. I lived in Greece for many years, many years ago. I lived in Greece for a few years, many years ago, and I learned Greek then. Now I have forgotten some, and it's not that good, I know. No, it's very good. So your grandparents are Greek. No, I don't have any family at all from here. No family at all from here? No, not at all. Then why did you live here? Because I really wanted to. I think Greece is a great country. And then, with a tone of friendly challenge, because they still don't believe me, "If you have no Greek family, where is your family from?" Well, they're now all in America, but my family is from Russia, Poland, and Italy. Ah, that's how you're an American. Exactly. That's how I am an American. The sermon I'm preaching this morning is very old-fashioned. No one would put any of it on X or TikTok or Insta. It could perhaps be copied onto a scroll for sharing or posterity. So often I'm talking about moving forward and changing, evolving, deepening, transforming even. Our power to do that for ourselves, with each other, to help blaze trails of love and justice that as a people we haven't found yet, but yearn for and instinctively seek. And our ministry theme this month is vision, which is so often forward-oriented. But this morning I'm talking about a vision already established and about holding on, about ideas and ideals worth keeping, worth believing in, insights already gained that we and our nation cannot lose, especially now when so many seem to spend so much more time and energy on social media trends and sound bites of the moment, and the latest pundits' latest thing, and so little on history and lessons learned as a society. I am only the second generation born in this country, and until lately, that always made me feel quintessentially American. Perhaps like many of us in this congregation, all my ancestors came here with virtually nothing but desperation, hope, willingness to work hard and learn hard. Having myself started with almost nothing in another country, no support from my family, my parents were like, "You go, girl," but they didn't have money to help me get established. I was all on my own in every way. And I can say, therefore, with full confidence that it is a terribly hard and very intimidating experience, much harder even than I anticipated. And for me, it was a free choice. It was not a last resort. I could always come back, and obviously I did. For most of our ancestors, there was no going back. There was no going back. All of my Russian relatives were dead by the end of World War II. The ones who stayed, they were machine gunned into a mass grave on a single day. My Polish family had all immigrated here from extreme poverty. My maternal grandfather, who I knew, won his first pair of shoes in a grade school contest. He had none before then. And he wore them to nothing, as you can well imagine. My maternal grandmother came here with her sisters and her heartbroken, widowed young mother, desperate for a new start in a country where my great-grandmother might find enough work, along with her daughters, to support themselves. And when I grew up, derogatory words for Italians and Poles and Jews were still commonly heard. I took them out of this sermon. I don't think they should be spoken here, but they were spoken everywhere when I was young. And I was all three, so that wasn't great. But it was also not unusual, and many of us have similar memories, because also those were not the only slurs and identities to be slurred upon. Not then and not now. But I was the first generation in my family raised middle class and raised without the experience of ethnic persecution or violence. The first generation in my entire heritage to be raised without the experience of ethnic persecution or violence. The first generation to anticipate a safe and fulfilling life. And it was a family trip to New York City, where my mother grew up, in Queens, where we took the ferry to see the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island, which really crystallized some of this for me. I was a kid, and I knew that some of my grandparents had sailed into this harbor. They either sailed into New York or Boston, all of my ancestors. And so I was on a boat looking at the Statue of Liberty, thinking about my grandparents who had sailed into this harbor and seen her from their ship, and that they were among the huddled masses, standing at the rail, carrying their few worldly possessions with them. They could take everything with them in a bag. And they were tired and poor and yearning to breathe free. And they were, as far as their homelands were considered, wretched refuse. Welcomed in by this country that, on the one hand, decided for my grandfather, the same one who won the shoes, that his name would change, they told him, from Brzezinski to Brian. But on the other hand, this same country promised freedom and possibility on a scale that was miraculous to him, and so compelling that it was worth all the fraught courage, all my ancestors had summoned to cross an ocean for a country with unknown language, unknown customs, unknown laws. So you can see where I'm going with this. You may be surprised. I was myself a bit as the sermon was revealing itself this week. I thought, really, sermon? We're going with the Statue of Liberty? Huddled masses is so dated? This is not the vibe of today. But yes, we're going with the Statue of Liberty because, yes, it is old and dated and also real. 24 years ago this week, as progressive TV host Jon Stewart wept his way through a monologue on the immediate aftermath of 9/11, he closed by pointing out that the devastation was unbelievable and the horror unimaginable and the absence of the Twin Towers utterly shocking, even visually still so shocking to him. But, he said, he still had hope because with all this, in some ways charged by all this, he couldn't help but see, with the towers gone, the cityscape he looked at from his work had changed, and what was now revealed by the terrible absence of the towers was the Statue of Liberty. With all that she literally stood for, which was all that he still believed in. And there she is still now, of course, and still beautiful, and still inspiring, with the words that describe her role and her presence, dated though they are, also as unforgettable now as when they were first penned. I am expecting that not everybody knows the opening lines of the new Colossus, but I'm so sure that everybody recognized the closing. It stays with us, doesn't it? You can't forget it. So New York Jewish poet Emma Lazarus wrote that poem, as you heard, to help raise funds for the pedestal on which her words now live. And they were installed there through the efforts of a Schuyler sister, a great-granddaughter of Alexander and Elizabeth Schuyler Hamilton. They were installed 20 years after they were solicited for the fundraiser. Emma Lazarus was a writer and an intellectual. She was a friend of our own American Unitarian philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson. And she had been working actively to help refugees fleeing pogroms in Eastern Europe. Emma was inspired by the statue. She saw it as a beacon for those refugees and others. But this was not because Emma herself was an immigrant. She wasn't. She was from a large and by then established and even privileged family that had been in this country for at least 4 generations on the Ashkenazi German side of her family, and even longer on the Portuguese Sephardic Jewish side. That side of the family had arrived way back in September of 1654 to what was then New Amsterdam, fleeing the Portuguese Inquisition. So those words came from someone established, not from someone who knew the journey or the welcome herself. And Emma's words were installed on that pedestal because decades after she wrote them, in fact, 16 years after her own young death at only 38, they were installed because her vision was true. They were true for my family, who arrived right around the time of the installation of the words on the pedestal. And they were true for many who came on boat or on foot. They were true for people who came during the last ice age across the Bering Land Bridge. and since then up from southern climes and down from northern climes and across the Atlantic or the Pacific, alone or with family, documented or not, to what would become, what has become, with all its failings and all its unique strengths and possibilities, a nation of immigrants, almost all of whom have suffered persecution and degradation upon arrival. I have always thought, and I still think, that that heritage of this country, the layers and layers of incredible vision and resilience of people able to envision and make and survive that kind of journey, is a great part of what makes America remarkable. Nowhere else in the world is there a country so rich with languages and cultures, cuisines and religions, races and ethnicities, traditions and heritages, with all their intricacy and beauty and power. I used to think it was a beautiful thing to be an immigrant. It was a hero's journey that they make. Even with the implicit heartbreak and suffering that created the huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the vision and the will to actually break free, to leave all that you knew and all that you were for such demanding possibilities, was beyond remarkable to me. It was beautiful. So now, when such loathing and contempt is heaped upon even documented immigrants, never mind those willing to sail in a small boat across a sea that they cannot swim, or walk through a desert when they have no water, when the word immigrant has become a slur and an identity scorned, when being an immigrant means being afraid, being targeted here on these sanctuary shores that have been filled with such promise, because we are being told all the time that immigrants aren't American and in fact perhaps can no longer become or ever be American. Of course, all of us who are immigrants or descended from immigrants, feel the vulnerability of all immigrants, because this touches almost all of us here. Does it not? The vulnerability is real, so yes, it is palpable. Whether we feel it as serious jeopardy for ourselves or for others around us. But I have reflected so much on this. It hasn't changed. It hasn't actually changed how I feel about the power and beauty in that word immigrant, that identity. To be an immigrant means one is right now terribly at risk here, but also it is still what it has always been, a thing of beauty and power, a mark of extraordinary courage and commitment, of heroism. And just as being an immigrant is quintessentially American, so too is the role of the informed citizen, the scrutinizing patriot, the attentive witness for justice, and the founding principles of this country, principles which we have never yet lived into, but principles that we can and must continue to believe in and uphold. To do otherwise would be literally un-American. Patriotism means believing enough in your country that you care about whether it can be better, that you believe it can be better, that it must live into all its promises and premises: truth and justice, equality and democracy, the inalienable rights of all people to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The rights of all people, not just some, the rights of all people to government most likely to support their safety and happiness. We all know that the history of immigration here and everywhere is complicated. Here it is also tied up with empire and colonialism, the arrogance and racism of the Pilgrims and Patriots, the destruction of native nations' lives, culture, and sovereignty. And then the growing nation with its convenient concept of manifest destiny, that God wanted America's expansion, which further displaced and oppressed more native nations, and as well, and this is not immigration, there is the enslavement and importation of literally over countless millions of African people, and also bondservants who we can never call immigrants. Those are realities we return to and struggle with now, as we must, because they are also American and uniquely ours to reckon with, ours to resolve because of our principles and beliefs in truth and justice, equality and democracy, and the inalienable rights of all people to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Challenged as all this is now, challenged as we all are now, I still believe in America. That's why the challenge is there. That's why I feel it. If I didn't believe, this would be fine. Whatever. I still believe in America. I will never not believe in our founding principles, either as an American or as a Unitarian Universalist. Our falling short does nothing to invalidate my beliefs. Their being so challenged now makes them all the more urgent, and as we move through this unprecedented time, it affords us also the chance to come through this as still our recognizable nation for whom our principles and beliefs are inextricably in our American DNA. Moreover, in part, our coming through this depends on Unitarian Universalists like us, adhering to our principles, also inextricably in our DNA, inherent worth and dignity, inalienable rights, justice, equity, and compassion, democracy, all of them. It's not surprising, really, that they line up with America's founding principles. Ours is a very American faith. Most early Unitarians and Universalists came here from England for freedom to practice their faith and sometimes their science or another vocation. Political leaders like, with all their flaws, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Abigail Adams, John Quincy Adams. Those three Adamses are buried in the Unitarian Church in Quincy, Massachusetts. Joseph Priestley, the discoverer of oxygen, who moved here because his lab, and the inventor of club soda, you're welcome, his lab was destroyed by people upset about his religious beliefs. So he had to move here. Benjamin Rush, physician, educator, and signer of the Declaration of Independence, blind as they were to the racism and sexism and hypocrisy that undermined their political principles, they were part of the evolution of ideals, and they were participators in our faith. Our faith is relatively young, like our country, and developed here in parallel, often shaped by and shaping the issues of the day: war and peace, slavery, abolitionism, poverty, the nature of God, the nature of humanity, anti-racism, LGBTQ equality, environmental justice. All of these likewise addressed in part by our religious forebears: Ralph Waldo Emerson, Theodore Parker, Margaret Fuller, so many more than I can list now. And we are their inheritors. They are our ancestors, politically and religiously. And the work of making the best of their vision whole and healed as well as real is now ours. So much in our nation right now means we have another important year ahead. Our circumstances as a country are heartbreaking and frightening and confounding. Not just to us, and now not just to progressives, to everyone at this point, regardless of how we lean and what we believe. And it's so painful because it doesn't have to be like this. It never had to be like this. And our nation cannot keep on like this. This time requires deep faithfulness. Deep faithfulness and commitment and heroes' journeys from all of us now inhabiting these shores and this land. And from all of us here at First U, this time will also rely on our UU beliefs and our American identity as we move through our nation's challenges, and of course also all those we face in our own living, our own individual living, our own personal struggles and hopes and needs. So amidst all that hardship, I want to remind us, every one of us, that while life never comes with overall guarantees for joy and goodness, joy and goodness will be part of our days also. Joy and goodness will be part of our days also. Not least because of this church, because of all we do here, because of all we feel here, because of all we can be here and share here and mean to each other. We mean so much to each other. I have said it before, and the power for me of this grows every year. I am so grateful and humbled to be your minister. I am so gladdened to be with you. Every time I walk through these doors, the people I see, the words we exchange, new folks I am so glad are coming in and being part of this. Longtime folks I treasure. I believe in you. I believe in you absolutely. And I believe in what we are called to do together. And I believe in who we are. We can do it because we are together. So onward, dear people. Onward, with love, please say it with me, with love beyond belief. Amen. Our second hymn is Come and Go With Me. It's in the teal hymnal, and everybody's always very fixed on the hymnal, because that's how we have learned to sing. Yeah, you know I'm going to push you on that today. So if you look at the words, 10:18, come and go with me to that land, come and go with me to that land, come and go with me to that land where I'm bound, come and go with me to that land, come and go with me to that land, come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. I mean, you can stay with your nose deep in the crevice of your hymnal if you must. And usually with this hymn, that's what we do. I just think maybe we could start to then there'll be freedom in that land, there'll be freedom in that land. Look, I'm not looking. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land, there'll be freedom in that land, there'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land, there'll be singing in that land. I am leaving my hymnal right up here. As I make my way down to join with you in this hymn, can we all rise in body or spirit and sing out together?
Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land. Come and go with me to that land where I'm bound. Freedom! There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land. There'll be freedom in that land where I'm bound. Justice! There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. There'll be justice in that land. There will be justice in that land. There'll be justice in that land where I'm bound. Singing! There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land. There'll be singing in that land where I'm bound. Yes! Woo! Give generously. Give generously to this church that gives everything it has, everything it can to all of us. And thank you so much for all that you give and all that you do and all that you are.
Among the many ways to practice our faith, these are the invitations to what we do beyond this morning's programs. The start of a new year means a new art exhibit in the atrium, and this month's show is very special. It features the art of our own Sue Myers in an exhibition curated by her husband, Merritt. So please come and see the stunning pieces she created in a wide variety of media. The opening reception is this coming Thursday, the 18th, from 5:30 to 7:30. The art is already up. It's really so, so beautiful. Don't miss this amazing display. Our new year also brings the opportunity for our first community gathering of the year, so come to the potluck on Saturday, September 20th. That's also this coming weekend. Sponsored by our Connections Committee. Share a table with friends, catch up with the summer, and have a meal with all of our First U program staff members. Sign up by calling the office or using the link that was sent out in last Friday's newsletter, the First U Times. And mark your calendars now for a major celebration this year. Our auction goes live online on October 29th, and the gala event happens on November 8th. We are already accepting donations. There's beautiful and really fun things that have been coming in already. So call Nancy Forstrom or Kelly Cochio in the office and join Megan Smith. Megan, can you stand? She is our auction chair this year. Speaking of generations, second generation, raised in this church, Megan Smith, auction chair in the Haynes Room after worship and snacks for an info session. Megan will talk about the volunteer opportunities available for this event and about the many different ways you can be involved beforehand. Our benediction is from the writing of contemporary UU minister, the Reverend Laurelyn Bellamy. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If here you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If here you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If here you have known love, then give some back to our bruised and hurting world. Go in peace. And can we join in the words for our chalice extinguishing from the order of service? We carry the flame of peace and love and hope until we meet again.